Okay, cool. So the whole purpose of this meeting is just to kind of get familiar with GitLab and our marketing workflow. So I'm going to share hopefully the right thing. Yes. Okay, so this is in the handbook, the marketing handbook. And these are just kind of our general marketing project management guidelines. Really handy reference to have. And it just kind of goes through how we organize using the project management capabilities in GitLab. And so going into GitLab, there's a couple of things to know. An important distinction is to know the difference between like projects and groups. So projects can be organized within a group. So if you go to the groups, we have a marketing group. And then the different functions of marketing have their different projects listed here. And so the reason we do this is so that we can organize certain activities at a group level that would require us to work cross-functionally with other teams, but then be able to organize our actual like workload and tasks within our individual projects. So here at the group level, we have our marketing epics. So if you click on here, you can see our different epics. And there is a ton of stuff in here. There's, events epics, there's product marketing epics, there's our just commit epics, and that's what I'll filter for here. And that's something to know too, is to start to get familiar with some of the labels that we have. For the content marketing team, just commit is the most important label right now. And to do that, I can just search by label. See, just commit. And then all of the epics around that will show up here. And what's nice about this is there's also this roadmap view. And if you click on here, you can kind of see all the different things that we have going on and for how long and where they overlap. This view probably isn't as helpful when you're looking at everything because there are so many epics. I mean, it's nice to kind of see, you can click into what's happening when, but it's probably going to be easier to look at with like a label and to filter it down so that you can see a little bit more clearly.
It's weird when I try to click on roadmap, it says something went wrong while fetching epics.
That's weird. I'm assuming you're logged in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look into that. I don't think that you need certain permissions or anything to see the roadmap. Maybe it's just a GitLab glitch right now. Can you see the epics list?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Cool. So, yeah, I'll try to figure that out. I'll talk with Jackie. She is kind of like our power user for this stuff.
Okay, perfect.
But going back to kind of the handbook, there is like an area right here that kind of lays out how we use issues, milestones, and epics. You probably won't need to create epics, at least for a while, because I do kind of cover these really broad marketing initiatives. And honestly, I don't even create epics that much. Our campaigns team kind of takes care of that. So that might evolve a little bit. But whenever you're working on a big initiative and you're looking for information, I would always just recommend starting with the epic. If we go into one, I'll show you why. So if you start with the epic, it'll give you a good overview. And the best part about the epics is all related like issues are going to be there. So it's the kind of the single source of truth of looking for information on something. And so that's that's epics. And then the other thing at the project level that you can do is you can search all issues. So if you're looking for an issue and you can't remember, or it's not clear if it's in the corporate marketing project or product marketing or digital or whatever, at the group level up here, you can search all issues and all projects in the group. So it's a handy way to like look for something if you're not sure where it is.
Okay, perfect.
Some other things that we use, if you go into labels, this is where you can find all the different labels. There's a ton of labels in here. I would really just stick to the ones that are listed in here. That's how our content marketing board is laid out. The only thing to know about labels is whenever you're creating an issue for yourself, or something that you're working on in content marketing, is to give it a content marketing label. And I'll kind of show you more about what I mean when we get into the issues. So the last level at this group level that we organize by is through milestones. I think we have it documented in here. Let's see. Yeah, so epics are, you know, really big initiatives that might kind of be ongoing, whereas a milestone represents a unit of work to be completed within a specific time. So the way that we're using this on our team is I have created milestones for our quarterly OKRs. So you can see content OKR, increased social referral traffic. It's probably not a good example though. We'll go into, so all three of our OKRs are here as milestones. And if I click into it, you can see over here, there's a start date, there's a due date, it spans the quarter. In the description, I've written down what it is that we're going to do in order to reach this. And then when you're creating issues, you can attach it to this milestone. So here we can go and view issues. And these are all the issues related to that milestone. So all of these issues in theory should be closed and completed by the end of the milestone. And that's like really high level view stuff just to kind of stay organized in terms of what we're tracking toward. When it comes to the milestones, I usually go in and add stuff to the milestones, but if you're working on something and you know, like this is part of this one, it's part of increasing awareness, then you can go ahead and just add it or ping me if you have questions about it. So yeah, that's a really high level of like the group level. But getting into the actually I'll stop there. Do you have any questions?
No, this all looks really good to me.
Cool. So let's jump into the projects. We'll go back to the group so we can look at all of them. So the main project you're going to be working in is corporate marketing. So click into that. And so once we've clicked into this project, all of the issues are going to be specific to this project. So you won't be able to find things in other projects when you're at the corporate marketing project level. And so here you'll want to go to the issues. If you just click on it, it brings you to a list. This isn't the most helpful view. I hardly ever go into just this list view unless I like really don't know where to find something. I just know it's in this project and I'll start to search or filter for it. But most of the time I'm going to go to the boards. And so I don't know if it does this for you, but for me, it's defaulting to the content marketing board, which is great for us. And you can see that on this board, we have those labels that are in our handbook: status plan, work in progress, review, and scheduled. And so something to know about this board is that it auto-populates. So if you create a new issue, let's do that. Let's go create a new issue. We'll call it test issue. This is a test issue. I'm using Markdown to create a header. Now I need a list. List 1, list 2, list 3. And we can preview it. We have these checkbox lists now if we want. We can make it confidential. We can assign it to me. Give it a due date. I'm not going to add it to a milestone, but this is like where if you knew what milestone it was, you just quickly add it. We always want to make sure that if we're doing content marketing, it has a content marketing label. And so let's say this is just an idea and nobody's agreed to work on it and we need to just talk about it. We're going to give it that status plan. We don't use the wait, submit the issue. And because we gave it those 2 labels, when we go back to our board, it's going to automatically be there. The one thing with these labels to watch out for is if we are like, okay, we have our test issue, we can see it's due tomorrow, let's move it to the top. We're ready to work on it, so we move it over here. Doing that will change the label, but if you're actually in the issue and let's say it was in plan and you want to change it to status work in progress, you have to remove the previous label and add the new one, because if you just add the new one, it'll have both labels. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if you're in the issue, that's how you would change it. But if you're in the board, you don't have to do that? Or do you have to do that when you go back into the issue?
No, if you move it in the board, it will automatically remove the label from the previous column. But it won't do that in here. And so, another thing to know about the issue, we'll kind of dig into this issue view now. We can go in and edit this description anytime. You have like your basic editor tools up here. This issue description section responds to Markdown. I can find a link for all of the Markdown stuff, but essentially like this double hashtag gives you an H1. So I might call this like, details. Here are the details. And then maybe like under details, I want to have like to-dos. And then it would format like that. And you can kind of keep going on forever. To-dos. So it'll give you that hierarchy. And then there's also up here, there's a couple of templates. So those issues that you're already assigned to are all using this blog post template. So if I know I'm going to use a blog post, I can just go up here, choose this, preview it, and it's like all there, and it's going to automatically give it those 2 labels. So that's a good one to know about. I don't know that you'll really use any of these other ones for now. Web page update, that's one. And this is if you're going to go do an update to a web page. You would use this label. You would start answering these questions. And then it's going to label it also design so that Luke and Jarek are pulled into the conversation. But you don't have to use templates. You can create an issue for just about anything. If you have an idea about something and you want to discuss it, just create an issue. You can either link to a doc where you put your thoughts together. You can lay them out in the issue description. It's really up to you. Any questions about creating an issue?
No, this looks good to me.
Cool. And I can't actually delete this issue, so I'm going to close it once we're done with it. Let's see.
So is that usually the case where once you open an issue, you can't delete it? Or is it just for this one? Okay.
Yeah, you have to just close it. And the reason for that is because everything is like version controlled. So you're not going to just like delete something and like delete that history. I kind of wish you could delete sometimes because we have no use for this, but it doesn't matter. It's gone to the closed issues section, and like, I mean, it's not going to clutter anything up for us.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, so that's, another board that I made was the Just Commit campaign, and I made this board by just filtering. So you can see here it says edit board. So when I created this new board, I gave it this name and I scoped it. So this board only includes things that have the label Just Commit. And it still uses the same project workflow labels, but it's only going to pull in issues that have that Just Commit label. And that's actually how the content marketing board works as well. It only pulls in issues that have content marketing. Corporate events probably work similarly. Theirs is a little different. Social board also works the same way. These all have a social label. And then where it might start to get a little bit tricky is if you need to create an issue in another project. So issues that belong in corporate marketing are like issues that the corporate marketing team are working on. So there's sometimes I need things from another team. So a good example of this is I needed some reporting from the digital team. So I went into the digital marketing programs. Let's see. So I'm in their project now. And I created this issue because I needed some metrics and I needed some help with a reporting dashboard. So even though I need it and I'm requesting the work and it's to help me, the digital team is going to actually do the work. They actually pulled up the reports and made the things happen. Same thing with like, if I needed something from product marketing that I needed them to work on so that I could do my work, I would go into their project and create that. And I would cross-link though. So if I had an issue in corporate marketing that I was working on and I ran into something where I needed something from product marketing, go create that issue in their project. And then right here in related issues, you can just add and then paste the link. So you can connect and link issues across projects in our group.
Okay.
I think other than that, that's kind of it. That's kind of like a high level and a little bit of a deep dive. I mean, as you start to get in and start creating issues and stuff, you'll pick it up. But that's generally how we organize things.
Okay. And what's with these thumbs up, thumbs down?
You mean these?
Mm-hmm.
This is just, it's like a social feature of GitLab.
Okay.
So like I created, let's see who thumbs up it, Rebecca. So Rebecca's like, yeah, great. Like I really need this. Or she's acknowledging that she saw this.
Okay.
But she's probably more so acknowledging like, yay for this issue.
Okay.
So, this exists because GitLab is an open source project and people contribute to our product. So say I'm a coder and I want to propose a new feature for GitLab and I go into that project and I propose this feature, other people in the community can come in and like thumbs up or thumbs down. And then as like the GitLab product person, I can use that to decide like, should we create this or not? And I mean, I don't really know if they use it that way. I'm assuming you'll see this a lot in like people ops issues where we're talking about somewhat like controversial things.
Yeah.
And if somebody brings something up where they're like, hey, I noticed this thing and it's not right and we need to fix it, and like 50 people thumbs up that issue, that's like kind of an indication to people ops of like, this is a really big deal and we need to fix this.
Okay.
But you can also add anything, like if I loved this issue or like I was like, yeah, this is great, and I can paint it and we can take it back, and then I can take them away too.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if they served some kind of like larger function of like thumbs down, we don't need this, or something like that.
I mean, you could thumb something down if you thought it was a bad idea.
Okay.
But yeah,
and what is service desk? I've seen that, and I'm not exactly sure, like,
Where is Service Desk?
yeah, it's right under issues, under labels.
So I'm pretty sure it's not something that we use for marketing.
Okay, cool.
But essentially it's like a feature of GitLab where you could hook this up to like your customer relationship system. And if somebody sends like a support email, it would populate as an issue.
Okay.
Here, I believe. This is like a functionality that I think that we have, but is somewhat lightweight, but there should be documentation around it. So you could learn more about it if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I saw like email automatically becomes like issue, and I was like, oh, is this how like you make issues from emails or something? But no, you answered my question.
Yeah. So I'll go back and the reason, so you'll see at the project level that there's also milestones. And let me double check to make sure this is right. There's no milestones in the corporate marketing project. And the reason that I do that I organize even our content milestones at the group level, is because of the cross-functional nature of our work. So if I made a milestone in the corporate marketing project, and say that we opened an issue in digital marketing as part of this milestone we're marching toward, I couldn't connect it because it wasn't in different projects. So milestones and labels, we try to always create at the group level so that we can cross-link across all of the projects.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think it was like a super high level look. And like I said, once you get in and start creating issues of your own, it'll feel a lot more, familiar. And actually, I mean, if you wanted, like maybe between now and next week, maybe there's like an idea that you have, or you want to create an issue with like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like observations you've made in your first GitLab or something like that. And if you want to do that and play around with it, and you can like mention me on it, and that might be one way to go.
Okay. Yeah. And if so if I'm creating an issue where I like imagine a campaign or something like that, would I want to make it at the like project level and then like check with you and like assign the right labels to it? Or would I need to create it at like the group level? Or like if I wanted to bring in other teams, would I just like check with you first? Or how does that usually work?
If you're creating an issue, it's going to typically be at the project level. And it's probably going to be in corporate marketing if it's something that you're working on. But that doesn't mean that other people won't collaborate with you. So let's see if I can find a good example here. So re-engagement nurture. This is something that I worked on with Agnes. You can see Agnes is even assigned to this, even though she's not in corporate marketing. We were assigned to this together.
Which one? Which one is this?
It's called re-engagement nurture.
Okay.
And so this is in the corporate marketing because this issue was for writing the copy for this nurture track. But if you scroll down into the comments, you can see Agnes and I are going back and forth quite a lot. So we're still collaborating. I needed her input, but this issue specifically, the task that's being worked on in this issue was writing copy. So that's why it's here. And you'll see, what's another good one? Oh, my social board, that's why I'm confused. So if we go into this white paper, Erica was writing this white paper, which is why it's in our handbook. But you can see that She looped in Jason, who's a product person, and they're going back and forth. Brendan, who's also in product, is commenting with feedback on it. She's coordinating with me. So you can pull in as many people as you want into an issue from all the different kinds of teams to have a discussion and give feedback and input. But in terms of like where you're putting it, just think about who's actually doing the work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, all of this makes a lot of sense because when I first started getting into GitLab, you showed me the boards, and so I've been playing around looking at those. But this makes it a lot more manageable.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And yeah, like as soon as you start getting into the like actual work, because you're like onboarding and all of this stuff, but as you start to get into like the flow and the workflow and stuff like that, you'll pick it up pretty quickly, I think. And
Okay.
yeah. Anything else? Any other like big questions or small questions? Any kinds of questions?
Let me think. I think I'm going to learn a lot, just kind of as I do. And everybody's been so receptive if I've had questions, like Erica and William especially. So I feel like I'm going to learn a lot as I go. But I think this gives me the good big picture on how to create issues, how to manage these boards, how to go through like the workflow of working on something. So I think this looks good.